Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Conquest discussion. This is going to be the full solo lane game. We have the Titans fighting, so we actually get the full discussion there about how I feel about that, and some things that I've discovered through multiple games. This is only the solo game that I got, well, the second solo game that I got. I've played a series of other roles just to get a better feel of it too. I will be discussing some of these in a future continuation of this. I'll be discussing some of the other roles and how they have changed according to Conquest. But this is going to be the full solo one. Now, before we get into the actual video proper, a couple of things I want to mention. First, this was recorded the day before Charon was released, or Charon if you pronounce it that way. So that's why there's no Charon here, alright? This is the day before. I just haven't been able to record this voiceover until the day he is released. Secondly, obviously, this is going to be a mirror match. Third off, Bacchus is our mid and Baron Samedi is our support, not the other way around. Bacchus being the mid affects me slightly, actually. It affects me pretty close to the beginning here. Right? We're going to go back 10 seconds so you can see this. Now, Bacchus doesn't hit quite as hard in the early game with his ability as mages do, so I have to grab my third ability and use the bird. Another thing is that Bacchus, because he has a melee attack, and this is the more significant thing, because Bacchus has a melee attack, he does not, in fact, have as short a distance to travel. He has to run a slightly longer distance. And you'll see right off the top here, I poked him out, and then I kind of backed up. I'm actually going to go back really quick for that. I Bird of Nope in because, of course, Bacchus has his melee attack, and he doesn't hit as hard. So I poke him here so I can grab his minions. Now, I do that intentionally so that way I can kind of stay near my minions. I don't want to fight him because he beat me here. And if I start fighting him now, he'll have cleared... You see, he's already cleared my wave, and I would have been fighting into his wave, which is not something I want to be doing. So I backed off, I played it safe until I got my 72 transformations, and then I could back out of here. Now what I was doing there was checking what he has. He has the round shield. So at this particular point, I am looking to poke him very specifically, right? I want to pull that minion aggro so that way my minions don't take that damage. I repeat again here. This is really key because I'm hoping that if I can clear his wave before he clears mine, and he attacks me as a result of this, because he's trying to get a head start on my HP, right, but I have my archers all here, and we're both level 30, and he's, of course, taking the archer damage. I'm running my Baron's Brew, right, he attacks me into the minion wave. Now, that was a mistake on his part, him attacking me into that minion wave. I keep poking again, right, I'm slightly ahead due to the Brew and my earlier attempts at keeping my minions alive. He wastes his Aegis, but that Aegis is more important than the waste. That also indicates to me that he doesn't have teleport, so any death or back he has to do is going to be more painful. Now, I don't chase him here because I'm not going to be able to do anything with that. Reddy's going to be under tower. He winds up dying to a minion right here, which is big for me because, again, he doesn't have teleport. So it's actually going to set him back a little bit longer than you would expect because he actually has to run all the way back. So I get to clear this, and I'm going to be able to grab the Scorpion as well right afterwards. So I get quite a bit of benefit out of his death there just because he hasn't got teleport. I wouldn't be able to take this if he had teleport. I only would have been able to clear his wave. So grab that, and then I kind of arrogantly try to back right here because obviously he's on his way. I'm too low on health. I'm not going to hit level 5 in time to get my ult to continue fighting him. He justifiably pokes me out of my back there, which is the correct thing to do. It was very arrogant of me to try that. But here we are, we're going back, and lo and behold, work on Soul Eater, get my level 2 teleport back in, grab my wards, right? Because, of course, Bakasur, being capable of true damage, is going to be a bit of a threat to me, and I'd rather not get ganked by him, or at least if I am going to get ganked by him, know he's coming, which I can do with wards. Now, I'm assuming here that he's going to clear his blue buff. I'm not sure if Bakasur is over there or not, so I'm trying to just clear this wave as quickly as possible. I'm saving my 72 transformations for that reason. I grab my ult, obviously. He's right there, and you can tell, based on the amount of mana he has, that he cleared it himself. So I know Bakasur isn't in the area, so I'm willing to poke him a little bit here at this point. And again, I have my ult, so I'm not too concerned, right? So off I go to grab my blue buff, just in case, making sure that Bakasur isn't going to take it. Place my wards down. Could have been slightly better placement on that, to be honest, but good enough. Go ahead and clear my blue buff here. I'm okay with using my abilities to do this because I want to clear this as quickly as possible so that way I can work on that wave. It's coming in. You can see it right there. I lose a minion or two here. I think it's 2 minions. Yeah, it is. And all I'm looking to do here is just clear the wave. He's going to try to poke me out. It's not really going to make a big difference, to be honest. I'm just looking to clear this wave. I get some poke here, right? And then back to wave clear. And then we're just going to basically be going back and forth on this. Just clearing his wave. He waltzes right into my Master's Technique or whatever that's called. My spin attack. Now at this particular point in time, I see of course the Loki here, so I back up a little bit to try to lure him out. He kind of comes out, but the Loki has ult, so it doesn't really make a difference. We kill him, and this, again, is a really substantial benefit to me. Right, I have time to do a whole lot of things. Loki helps clear the wave, which is fine. We just killed the enemy Sun Wukong, so I'm going to be ahead anyways. This is actually totally fine, totally acceptable. But then we clear this, also still fine. I would have preferred to clear this one by myself, but it's not really that big of a deal. Go to check the blue buff, even though I'm pretty sure it's still down. It is, and back I go. Right, I really should have backed it this time, but I'm going to be going for the Bastion here. I'm going to try to get some damage on that. The reason I should have backed right there is because, quite frankly, at this point, it's pretty likely Bakasor is going to be coming in for a counter gank at some point in the very near future, and I had enough gold to get Soul Eater, so I really should have backed after checking that blue buff. But I stuck around, and, of course, I've still got mana for my ult, but I'm using a lot of mana here. Boom. Right, I barely have enough for my ult. I use my ult just to make sure I don't die. I want to be able to fight him afterwards. There's Bakasor, and then I make a mistake. Alright, what I'm about to do is use the wrong ability by accident, because my abilities are on my mouse. And my first ability, which is what I used there, is, in fact, right next to my third ability. So instead of pressing my third ability button on my mouse, I pressed the first one, which is what happened there. So I died because my mouse skills were slacking in that moment. Totally my fault. It's essentially the same as pressing the wrong key on the keyboard. It's just on my mouse instead. Either way, it results in my death, quite justifiably, but this isn't a huge setback. You might think initially that he caught up, but I'm literally right here just about to get a level up. Boom, there it is, because I can teleport back to my tower, and he has not been able to, so I've always got that benefit going for me. So while I did die there, it's not that problematic. I'm still going to be fairly decently ahead, and furthermore, based on the fact that he just came from behind his tower, he likely took that opportunity to back as well. I checked his items. He's starting to work on Soul Eater, and at this point, you know, I'm just looking to clear the wave here. Boom. Right? He's backing up because I can outpoke him a little bit. I go for some poke here, and now at this point, I'm just looking to fight for some damage on the Bastions is all I'm really doing. I get some extra damage on him, but that's not really the main goal here. What I should be doing, actually, is getting my blue buff, is what I should be doing, but I'm doing really well here. I have my Baron's Brew, so I have a little bit of mana to work with. He doesn't have his mana buff either, which is what he's going to go get. Now, mentally, I'm registering that, and I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe Bakasor is here, so I might want to back off a little bit after this, right? So I don't. Alright, you could see me thinking about it, but I don't. And that was a risk. I won't say it's a mistake, because Bakasor clearly isn't here, but it was a risk. Alright, so I go back and grab this, because at this particular point, I haven't seen Bakasor in a little while on the minimap there. So I'm not sure where he is, right? A couple of seconds ago, he's not really anywhere to be seen, right? Here's Sun Wukong coming out from behind his tower, which means he's solo cleared his blue. But I haven't seen Bakasor, so I don't know where he is. So I back up here instead of continuing to go for the Bastions, because I'm concerned because I don't know where Bakasor is, and I don't have mana. Right, so I clear this, which again, I'm a little bit higher level than him, so I'm not really worried about him stealing it. Grab that, I get some mana back. Here comes Loki, so even if Bakasor does show up, I'm probably going to be fine, right? We go on ahead and do a lot of damage to him. I stun him, and there goes the Sun Wukong. This is my opportunity to go grab my blue buff, because obviously there's no wave, the enemy Sun Wukong isn't there, Loki's checking the blue buff, but I'm pretty sure it's gone. There it is. I help him with the buff there, just so I can get a little bit of golden experience, and then I go and clear this wave really quick, because obviously, why not, right? Go through, use an ability, wipe these guys out. I really should have gone for my blue buff first, but I'm feeling really arrogant right now, So I just, and you can see Bakasura right there, so I know Bakasura is nearby as well, which is a bit of a problem. Now I'm going to go for my blue buff because now I'm pretty concerned, right? In a couple of seconds I'll have enough mana to use my 72 transformations if I need to, but I see Bakasura is in mid, so I'm relaxing a little bit. I see the enemy Sun Wukong in lane, so I'm looking to just clear this as quickly as possible, right? I know I'm not going to get ganked by Bakasura right now. Come back into lane, take care of this wave. I lose one, that's fine. I can't contest him for that totem because I don't have mana. He does poke me as a result. That is specifically why he poked me. He knew I wasn't going to be able to retaliate from the poke. Clear the wave. And then at this particular point, I am going to go back because I don't have the health or mana to fight him right now. And it's smarter for me to go back, grab some items, and restore my mana. Now at this particular point in time, I very specifically am just looking to clear my left lane because we're approaching the time pretty soon where the Stygian Beacon is going to be coming up soon. Alright, he's missing. I don't know where the hell he is. I am assuming he's doing his blue, so I'm going to go poke his Bastion a little bit, weaken down his wave ahead of time. Almost get poked by the tower, but I squeeze out of that one somehow. And there he is, right? He solo cleared that. Again, I don't think Bakasura is over here. I'm just looking to finish this Bastion, and then I'm going to poke him out, right? He counters because he was expecting me to use my Tiger form, which I did not. So I'm just looking to do this, take down this Bastion. And there it goes, right? Now I'm looking to clear his wave, get some poke on him. I have my ult, right? So if things get ugly, I can ult. I ult here, very specifically, because what I want to do is scare him off. Right, I've got the totem I can go for. He uses his ult and counter, that's fine. Right, he goes for my wave because I went for his wave. I'm still a little bit ahead of him in terms of level. I am a level up. Also, he's out of mana. I'm not doing too swell on mana myself, but I have the benefit of Baron's Brew. I totally whiffed that. That was horrific. I have the benefit of Baron's Brew, so I have a little bit more mana than he does. I can hear, obviously, Loki coming in. Obviously, you could see Loki coming in from ages ago. So, here comes the Sun Wukong, which is interesting because he was going to come out until the Loki came out from where the cooldown buff was. So Loki's going to go check the blue buff, but of course the enemy Sun Wukong has that, so I gank the... or try to gank the Sun Wukong. I say gank like I don't belong in the lane. I try to ambush the Sun Wukong. At this particular point in time, I'm rewarding because, again, I'm not really looking to get slapped by Bakasura, but my teleport is back up. So what I want to do right now is try to force the enemy Sun Wukong back. That is my goal right now. Because I intend on going back to Fountain and restoring my health and mana before teleporting to mid lane or something. I fail at scaring him off, but he starts backing as well, so I come up with a new plan. He backs, and what I want to do is I want to lock him into the lane. So when he backs, I stop my back, because again, he doesn't have teleport, and he's only level 11, so he can't pick it up yet. And I just want to clear this wave really quick, because once I clear this wave, then he'll want to come back over here, right? And then I'm going to go back. You can see where I've got a little bit of time before the Stygian Beacon spawns. Grab my Gladiator's Shield, and then grab whatever else I need, in this case my magic protections because I'm about to go into mid lane, and going ahead and grab a sentry ward really quick. I forgot to upgrade my relic, but it's fine. And then we're going to be fighting for the Stygian Beacon, right? And I was able to get over here, and there's Sun Wukong. You can see him in left lane. My plan worked exactly as I intended it to. So Bacchus is distracting the Merlin, and there's Bakasura right there, and he's going to try to interrupt this. The Bacchus came in, but it was really not necessary. I grabbed it just before Bakasura was able to interrupt. So at this particular point, I'm looking to return to left lane. I lost some tower damage, obviously, right? It also looks like he took one of my bastions, and I can see by my ward that he's clearly going for my mana buff because he wants to try to cripple me, right? If he can take this mana buff, then I'm on the back foot, even with the level, well, at this point, the half-level disadvantage. But fortunately, I was able to steal it back, and I do get my level from that, so I'm still ahead of him, and he's really low on mana, and he doesn't have his mana buff, right? You can see he only has the cooldown one, so I actually have a really good shot at killing him, right? Now, if I had been able to grab my second relic, which would have been blank, then that would have been great. Now, I'm pretty sure at this point, and I want to double check, because when I was actually playing the match, I thought I saw Bakasura. Let me go back a little bit. Yeah. That's either Sun Wukong. Right around here, I think this is either Bakasura or Sun Wukong. That's Bakasor. Yeah, so I thought I saw Bakasor there. It turns out I was correct. So I am just clearing this front line, right? I have my ult, so I go on ahead and use my 72 transformations. I am looking around, I'm peering around. What I want to see is Bakasor here? Because I, of course, have my ult. There's Bakasor in the middle, so that's not a concern. So I'm all set. I'm just looking to now take this totem, make sure he can't get it to get his mana back. Obviously, he has his mana buff, but this will prevent him from taking, you know, too much more mana. I grab that. I'm saving my ult to some extent here, because I'm obviously at full health. He's obviously down on health and mana. I'm not particularly concerned. Upgrade my ults. I see them fighting in mid. He disappears, and he's clearly... You can hear him planting the wards. So I go on ahead and do some damage to him here. Right? Just trying to poke him out there. And just farm up. That's all I'm doing right now. He's not got a lot of mana, so I know that if it comes down to a fight, I have the advantage. Bakasor died in that in whatever fight was going on in mid, so I'm fine for now. I am not particularly concerned. There is a possibility of Merlin rotating to gank me, but I'm not that concerned about it because, again, I still have my ult, right? Which I'm saving in this particular instance because now that our tier 1 tower in mid has fallen, Merlin might actually come and get me, right? So I have to be a bit more cautious with my ult use than I would normally be. Although I've been too aggressive with it throughout the match anyways, but that's a me problem. That's me being really arrogant this match. So boom, and you can see where I'm trying to just poke him out. Now, I don't actually have to kill him. Again, he doesn't have teleport, right? Or he didn't the last time I checked his items. So, and I'm watching him back to see if he's going to come back with teleport. And you find out pretty quickly, right, a couple of seconds, if he has teleport. Because he would teleport back if he gets it, but he hasn't teleported back by this time. So I can conclude from this pretty safely that he still hasn't got teleport. Right, so at this point I'm going to go grab my blue buff because I intend on, and I just want to grab my benefit there so I have some mana to work with. The minions are going to either take that tower or come really close to doing so. So I'm not too concerned about the tower. You can see where it's just barely going to survive there. So I'm taking my blue buff here, and I'm looking to push one more wave after this, is what I want, but then he shows up. And he's, of course, got more mana than I do, so I'm not going to be able to fight him. I'll be able to clear the wave, but I'm not going to be able to fight him. Alright, that's just not going to happen. Also, he's missing, which kind of concerns me. Once again, I assume he's going for his blue buff, since he's consistently solo cleared it this whole time, but the possibility of Bakasor showing up has occurred to me. So I'm just, you know, and I don't have wards anymore either. They've faded, so I'm just looking to clear this Scorpion here, mostly for the golden experience. I almost missed the buff there, and he wants to stop me from clearing the wave. He wants to try to reduce the amount of gold I'm getting, but I accidentally outplay him, I'll be honest. I did not intend to dodge him that well, but there it is. And then he dodges me in similar circumstances, so now we're basically even. But at this particular point, I'm just boxing him for the sake of boxing him. I just want to try to take this tower, so I ult in, using my decoy to distract his minions while I take his tower, and then at this point, I'm just trying to leave. The reason why is because the Stygian Beacon has started its countdown now, and by clearing his tower, what I've ensured is that he will be more likely to stay in lane to take mine. Right? I may have backed out I may have backed up to my tower, but I still have to clear this wave. I still have some time before the Stygian Beacon activates, so I use that time to make sure that he's not going to have any kind of easy tower take there. I go on ahead and I clear this one more wave because the timer's still not even halfway there yet, right? So I'm just looking to buy time here, keep him here as long as possible. He disappears. I'm assuming he's going to middle, which is why I call be careful middle. And then I grab this for a very specific reason. I'm going to talk about my build at the end, but I do something very interesting with this build that turns out fairly well overall. It's something I've been playing around with Sun Wukong with for a little while, and once again I almost forget my relic. I grab Blink because it's an old standby. Now you might be wondering why I teleported back left lane. Quite frankly, the short answer is I have time to fly over with my 72 transformations, right? I'm going to grab my cooldown here really quick, because again, I still have time. And I'm just going to grab this and fly over. Here's Sobek for some reason, which is actually really reassuring to me. I go on ahead and charge through him with a Bull Rush, because this also means that Sobek is not at the Stygian Beacon. They do take the Gold Fury. I'm assuming that was a combination of Bakasur and Hu Yi. Steal Merlin by accident. I did not actually think I was going to kill him with only 65 power, but there it is. But just trying to block the Sobek. It works. So we have 2 Stygian Beacons, which is great for us. And here's Sun Wukong late to the party because he was defending his lane, or he had backed. Probably, I think what he actually did was back, to be honest. And then I'm trying not to get killed by Bakasur because he's scary. He's doing true damage to me. You can see how much that's hurting me, right? So I'm just trying to wait it out, trying to get to Bakasur. We need to get rid of Bakasur. I think Bakasur actually ran away from the fight. Unfortunately, Ram dies, so at this point I'm kind of concerned, because with Ram dead, this means Hui is free to join this fight, which is not what we need. We're not really winning this fight. We're kind of just surviving this fight. We go on the aggressive, we go on aggro here, and I'm just trying to get this Sobek down. He goes down. We still have the Bakasur problem, though. Bakasur clearly backed and then rejoined the fight, which is a bit of a problem. I'm not likely to survive this. I don't know why I tigered. I should have used Bull and gotten out of there, because clearly I'm in danger, right? Here's Bakasur. I'm running my Baron's Brew. Loki fights the Bakasur, so I'm trying to just help him out here, but this is not going to work out very well in our favor. I'm not sure why he thought we could do that. The Merlin goes pretty deep in here, and I'm just trying to survive at this point as long as possible, trying to use my ult in time, which I barely get. The Bakasur does die as a result, and I'm way too late to kill Merlin. I don't even know why I bothered using my first ability there. That was a weird level of optimism. And at this point, I'm just hoping for the mana to get out of here alive, which I barely get in time, and I am able to escape, which is just an absolute miracle. The Ram avenges himself, and they have the Sun Wukong, of course, stuck between a Baron Samedi and an angry Ram, so he's not likely to survive very long, right? I see Sobek interfering, so I'm going to teleport to the mid tower so I can help out with that, because what I want to do is win this fight. I anticipate actually Merlin's coming in because Sobek came in, so there's a possibility Merlin's on his way, and I'd really prefer that not to happen. The battle apparently breaks off, so what I want to do is grab the Oracles, and then what I want to do is grab the Pyromancers, what I'm thinking about right now. So I'm going to grab these so we can see when the Gold Fury comes back up if there's any wards there. And then I'll be looking to do either some farm or the Pyromancer. Now, there's nobody nearby really for the Pyromancer, and I see Loki looking to drop my blue buff. So I'm dropping the idea of the Pyromancer. I'm going to help clear this wave a little bit here because obviously we need to take that Tier 1 mid. I start up the Pyromancer with Loki. I was originally going to go for the blue buff, but I decided to start the Pyromancer because Loki was here, Bacchus was here, and the enemy Sun Wukong does try this. I'm not sure why it tells me I have no available consumable slots, but here we are. And we have all of this mess going on, and there is Bakasur, who fortunately dies. Bakasur is the big threat on the board right now for Bacchus, Baron Samedi, and I. With him dead, we pretty much have this fight in the bag, to be honest. Bakasur did an absolutely amazing job picking up that Sun Wukong that I was not going to be able to get him. And at this point, I just want to make sure Merlin dies, so I'm looking to cut him off. Boom, he gets the Tiger. I grab the kill somehow. And then I'm just looking to take this middle lane. That's what I want right now. Oh, the no consumable slot was because the bomb, of course, the Pyromancer bomb. So we're, my teammates are doing a great job taking the tower here. I can tank it a little bit. I'm just looking to slow down this Sobek. Bacchus picks it up, which is fantastic. And then I need to get out of here because obviously I don't have that much mana left. I did not pick up my mana buff, and it's not going to last that long. They call Gold Fury, which my brew is running, so that's fine, I guess. Right? I'm okay with that. I have my ult. Stygian Beacon is charging, so after this Gold Fury, I am absolutely going back to Fountain because I'm going to want to be fresh and ready for the upcoming Stygian Beacon fight. Alright, that is what I'm going to want here. So we do get the Primal Fury. I cut this a little close on HP. I could have, again, still used my ult, so I wasn't concerned, but we were raising eyebrows behind the screen here. So at this particular point, I want to grab the infamous Stone of Binding, right? And then I have some time before the Stygian Beacon comes up, so what I'm going to do is run out into the jungle and just grab whatever gold I can. Because right now, what I really want is that Stone of Binding. I'm willing to drop the Tier 1 tower. I have his Tier 1 tower. It doesn't make a difference, right? It's not a big deal. I blink in here because I just want that gold, because the Stygian Beacon is coming up soon. A bit of a silly move, to be sure, but I was really concerned that if I didn't blink in, I wouldn't get any gold, and it would take me longer to get the Stone of Binding, especially since clearly they are starting the Stygian Beacon fight a little early, and unfortunately, 2 people die, and I need to get out of here, right? This is a dire situation, and I am just trying to survive. I use my ult, right? Bacchus is in there, and I'm not going to be able to save him, but I make an attempt anyways, because I'm probably not going to get out either, right? I tried to kill Sobek, but Loki picks that up, which is good. Now I'm trying to get Loki out of here, and we're just dancing around in this tower for our lives. Here's Bakasor. Now, I don't know why I chase him here, okay? I hear the Sun Wukong behind me, and I chase this Bakasor, and I die here because of that hideously stupid mistake. I should never have tried that, alright? That was a really egregious error. I should not have tried to attack him there. Not with 3 of them right there. The enemy Sun Wukong right there. It was a terrible idea. So they're looking to take this Phoenix, but of course they have to be concerned about the Loki. Baron Samedi has an excellent ult, locks down that Hou Yi. Ram, of course, ulting to try to take out the Sun Wukong. But the Loki is chasing. Now, the Loki is chasing because you can see he almost has his ult. So he's pretty likely going to get that pretty soon and be able to kill the Sun Wukong right afterwards. He just got his ult. He gets the ult, he lands that, and Baron Samedi is, of course, there trying to help out, but the surprise Aegis save, right? So they do pick up the Sun Wukong, and they're theoretically going to push that mid tower, but they're, of course, going after the Stygian Beacon, which is the smarter move. Bacchus is absolutely grabbing that, which is the correct move, and boom. We are now talking about, and you can see right here, the Titan is going to be going down left lane. So I, myself, am going to be looking to grab some gold beforehand, because what I want to do is get my Sundering Axe, is what I want. Actually, I say Sundering Axe, that is not what I actually wind up going for. I wind up picking up the Axe of Animosity, and it becomes fairly interesting. It's a fun little build that I've been trying. I'll talk about it a little bit later on when I grab that. But Baron Samedi dies for basically being too greedy. That was just a greed move on his part. I'm pretty sure it was the Ram. No, I pinged that. But I pinged that because the Ram is there. And then here comes Bakasor, so I gotta leave. The Titans are unleashed, so I'm not looking to do too much here. But Bakasor is caught out by our Bacchus, right? So Bacchus and I blink on him because, again, we're all aware of the fact that the Bakasor is the scariest person on their team. Now that Bakasor is dead, we have a much better chance of winning this next team fight, and the enemy team has come to our side of the jungle for this. We kill Merlin right off the top, leaving Sobek to basically just die because he's got no one to save him. The enemy Sun Wukong is looking on helplessly because there's no way he was saving Sobek, and that's why he turned around and ran. There was just nothing doing there. So we want to kill him off, ideally, right? And he uses his ult, which is the good move here, because that's his best chance of getting out. He's probably stalling to get his 72 transformations back up. And we're just wiping out their jungle, and then we gotta go in and take care of this Titan here, right? Bacchus and I are on the case. And we are just looking to tear this thing up. Here's everyone else, right? We're gonna... And what we want to do is we want to push this Titan to the tower. Alright, that's what we're going to be looking to do. They call Fire Giant, which is an interesting play. What they're looking to do is use our Titan as a distraction so we can get Fire Giant, which isn't a bad plan at all. I personally would have preferred to at least push for that tower, because we likely would have gotten it, but Fire Giant's another good choice. And this is one of the great potential uses you can have for the Titan. Unfortunately, the Hou Yi does steal it. But we're able to pick him up. The Loki does a great job picking it up. So now I'm going back to my original plan of trying to push the Titan under tower so we can take that. Right? You can see Bakasor back there killing people. I'm just trying to stall out for this Titan, but the Titan is clearly not going to be able to take that. There's Merlin. I'm still wondering where Bakasor is because, again, he's the big threat. But I'm going to just try to save my friend here, Ram. right? And successful save, great. And I'm just trying to figure out what else is going on, right? The Titan almost took that tower, so what I'm looking to hopefully do, because my ult is up in 15 seconds, so it's not that high in terms of risk, is I'm looking to push this wave under tower or something and then ult away, right, is basically what I'm looking for. But the Bakasaur jumps me a little bit before I'm ready. He blinks and jumps, right? I blink, and then he blinks and absolutely decimates me before I can use my ult. Which is fine. I mean, it happens. It was a great play by Bakasaur. I actually was checking right there. I actually checked really quick to see how he caught up to me because he was a little fast. He's got a ton of movement speed. He's got Gilded Blade or Golden Blade. He's got Hastened Katana. He's got possibly the... I don't know if he had the health shield, the blood shield, when he was starting the chase. I think he did. So he's pretty fast. But I'm also looking at here is Shogun's Kusari, which is fairly interesting because I'm pretty sure at this point the enemy Sun Wukong is just partially copying my build. He started with Bluestone, I started with the Warrior's Axe. He has Brawler's Beatstick because he really wants anti-healing, right? I did not build that because the enemy team's healing isn't that strong. Bakasaur's healing only works if he has a minion nearby. So anti-healing actually rarely is effective against Bakasaur because he's not usually healing in the middle of combat. Yeah, he's got a little bit of lifesteal there in the form of the Blood Forge, but that's only 15%, right? Sobek, of course, has self-heal, but he also doesn't hit that hard, and if he hasn't got any allies, it doesn't matter at all anyways. So that's fine. But he has Brawler's Beatstick for the ability-based anti-healing, despite having just built Shogun's Kusari. And Shogun's Kusari is still a good pick for him, because, of course, Hou Yi and Bakasaur are both going to benefit from that. But it is a bit interesting, because I have that, but I also am getting this not only to help Ram, and to some extent Loki, who has, of course, the backside of auto attacks, but I intend on picking up Animosity later on, right? Which I actually get to grab it right now, actually. And here I go. I buy Sundering Axe at first. I'm like, you know what? I think I want Animosity, because I've already got a lot of great options here. Sun Wukong actually has decent auto attacks anyways. I've got a nice hybrid build right here of both ability-based damage and auto attack damage, right? I have the Crusher, of course, which is giving my abilities bonus damage and giving me attack speed. Soul Eater gives me lifesteal on both. Shogun's Kusari gives me cooldown for my abilities and boosted attack speed, and of course Glad Shield is bonus damage on my abilities. So with Animosity, I also have bonus damage on my auto attacks, giving me bonus damage on everything, which is lovely. So you have our, we've got teammates clearing the Gold Fury. My main concern right now is I want to take that left tower to increase the pressure there, right? And then of course we have Ram bailing, and he comes back, which is why I don't wind up, which is why you're seeing this particular episode. He does come back, and I actually want to talk about how I change. I make sure they all know it's still F10. There's a error. It says F6 to pause, but it's actually F10. And I just wanted to make sure they knew that. But what I want to do is take that left tower to increase the pressure over there. Here's Merlin attacking me, or stealing my blue buff more properly, with Loki kicking around there. We're going to go on ahead and skip to the past the pause. There we go. And at this particular point in time, again, I'm still looking to take that tower, but I'm doing so with a bit more caution because Ram hasn't come back yet, right? So I'm going to stop and do this really quick because I want to see if anybody's noticed me clearing those waves. There's the enemy Sun Wukong, which is a good sign. I see Bacchus just running at the tower. This absolute mad lad just goes in there and takes the tower, which is what I was going to do, but I'm looking to just meet him at this point, so that way if he needs help, I'll be there. But he doesn't. They totally ignore him the whole time. It's weird. So Bacchus calls attacking middle lane, which is quite a risk, but here we go for it, right? Why not? But I'm a bit paranoid. You'll actually see me kind of looking around a little bit there while attacking the minions. I'm looking a little to the left here because I see Sun Wukong, Sobek's in mid, Bacchus' enemy spotted. It's Hou Yi and Bakasaur, I think, over there. I think it's Bakasaur right there. Yeah, it is. There he is. And, you know, I'm just keeping on this Bakasaur. There's Merlin, right? I dive way too deep for that, so I ult out because I took an unnecessary risk there. I see Bakasaur back there, which Baron Samedi ults him, right? And I'm just trying to keep the Hou off of Baron Samedi. Things are looking pretty dire right now. So I'm just... Now, I stick with Baron Samedi because he's close by, right? Bacchus is clearly trying to kill Bakasur. We're all trying to retreat. Now, we're retreating because, obviously, it's a 4v5, and we got caught on the back foot. We should not have tried attacking that tower, to be honest. That was a bit of a mistake, right? Going that far up, being down a person. I come over here because I have a good chance of doing some pretty good damage to Merlin, but I don't do enough. The enemy Sun Wukong, not Bakasur, chases me a little bit, and then they ignore me. They go after the Bacchus, so I just go after the Hou, right? Because if we can kill the Hou, at the very least, they're not likely to take a Phoenix, right? So I'm not going to catch up to that, obviously. I'm out of mana, and the Loki is probably going to catch up to that, so that's fine. So I'm looking to stop this attack, and great move by the Merlin there, but I'm going to chase him, because at this particular point, I'm just trying to buy the team time, right? And then I, of course, get attacked by everyone. Loki comes in, kills the Merlin, saves my life, basically, because now these two aren't going to be able to hit me hard enough to probably kill me. I have my ult up in a little bit. I use my 72 transformations. He uses his. So I give up that chase, obviously, but Loki's still going for it. You can see Loki going for it right there. Here's the Rom, after we somehow successfully defended. So we're feeling really good right now. Stop him from escaping, hit him with some animosity hits. And, you know, that's a huge demoralizing thing for the enemy team. They had a 5v4 advantage, and we, as I state right there, we held out. We successfully defended. They did a lot of damage to our middle Phoenix, but they didn't actually take it, and right afterwards, Bacchus presses some minions under that tower and takes that tower, which is very impressive, by the way. This Bacchus is a legend. Absolutely fantastic gameplay by a mid lane Bacchus, which is a very difficult role to play anyways, but I'll talk about that at the end game. So, Gold Fury is called, which I think is a little bit aggressive, but here I go, right? We have Rom right here, we have Baron Samedi right here. I'm a little concerned that this is going to get stolen from us like the Fire Giant was, right? Because Hou is up, and I don't know where he is. There's Sobek right there, but Sobek doesn't have that much damage, so it's unlikely that he's going to be able to steal that. He doesn't. But I've taken a lot of damage, so I'm going to ult behind this pillar, hoping that I can trick one of the enemies who I'm assuming is coming to reinforce Sobek with my decoy, but I don't see anyone. I thought I saw someone really quick around the left, but I'm not sure. So they're all calling Fire Giant, and lo and behold, Sobek... Now, I was bamboozled, because it hadn't occurred to me until after the fact that they could be on Fire Giant, which is why they weren't attacking the Gold Fury. So that was a mistake on my part. It should have occurred to me. I should have teleported over there and potentially tried to do something about it. I could have teleported to our tier 2 left lane and done something about it, but at this particular point, what we have to do now is kill off at least one of them. Actually, at least two of them, because they just killed Loki. We need to do something here. Alright? Because they have Fire Giant buff, and they have the advantage, but unfortunately, they're all grouped up, and we're down Baron Samedi. So at this particular point, I'm just trying to stall out. I just want to buy time for Loki to come back. That's what I'm looking to do right now. We shouldn't be up this far doing this, but that's what we're all trying to do. At least that's what I'm trying to do. So the enemy, Sun Wukong, uses his ult, so I'm just trying to essentially cut him off from his allies, right? Trying to slow him down so that way Rom can get that damage in there, and Bacchus absolutely destroys him, but gets killed right afterwards by Bakasur. I don't think the enemy team knew that that was the fake me until after it was gone. I blink out of here because obviously I don't want to get caught out by Bakasur or anyone like that, which would be fatal for me, right? I'm just trying to escape. You can hear the Bakasur chasing. You can see him on the minimap right there, and Bacchus does... Actually, no, it's the Baron. Somebody does inform me that, hey, you're still being chased, so I'm just bailing. You can actually see, by the way, that my MP5 is good enough where I get exactly enough mana back to use 72 transformations as soon as it's off cooldown, which is just a really great thing. Boom, there it is. So at this particular point in time, I'm just looking to buy some potions, right? I got my ward. I should have bought a defense up potion here. I did not. I should have sold my Baron's Brew for that, but I did not. That was a mistake on my part. That was just pure oversight. I had the money for it. I just didn't do it. And at this particular point in time, we're just trying to figure out where the enemy team is. Now, we're waiting to see if we can find a pick. Sobek is in left lane, but you don't usually want to pick the enemy support. Baron Samedi is going after the Pyromancer, which isn't a bad idea, since there's one enemy in each of the 2 side lanes. You could just, for a brief moment, you could see somebody in right lane. Bacchus calls that out. We're just looking for a pick. That's all we're looking for. I'm here with Rom, because if anybody's going to get a pick, it's going to be Rom. Baron Samedi catches out the Merlin there, so I'm just trying to prevent Sobek from coming over for that, right? I'm just trying to buy them time. They kill Merlin, and then there's a fight going on over there, so we're looking to join that fight, because Merlin's down, so now if we group up, we win the fight, right? The enemy Sun Wukong goes really deep. I'm looking to try to save whoever this is. It turns out to be Baron Samedi, right? Slap him down, he gets killed, which is absolutely fantastic, and now it's a 3v5, but the Baron Samedi has to go back. Now, I'm pressing this because I have Rom here, and I'm trying to figure out where Bakasur is, because I could hear him, right? So I'm trying to bait out the Bakasur, and he doesn't show up, so I'm just coming back for Rom, right? I don't know where Bakasur is. He's the one I'm really worried about. I'm just going to stick with Rom, because if anybody's going to save me from Bakasur, it's going to be Rom. So Rom is working towards the Gold Fury, but obviously it's not up yet. I was hoping the Oracles would be up first. They are. That's what I was doing that comparison for. Completely mistimed that. Clear these Oracles. And boom. No wards. Okay. Meanwhile, Bacchus is, by the way, taking the right tower. I don't know how they're letting that happen, because this time there is no Fire Giant. So, yeah, you can see them going for him right there. So that's going to buy us time. Yes, he is going to die for that. But we get to take the Gold Fury for this, and Baron Samedi is buying us additional time there. He probably didn't need to go in for that, but we're going to try to join him at this point anyways, because it's a 4v4 still, because obviously their Sun Wukong is dead. Bakasur dies, and I know we are going to win this fight. All we needed was Bakasur to die, slap him down with some abilities. It's a delicious time. And then at this particular point, we just need to finish off the last couple of people. The enemy Sun Wukong has come back, but too late. Sobek dies to our Baron Samedi, and I'm just trying to slow down some people. I get blasted by Merlin, which is fine. I'm just hoping at this point that I've opened up enough of a window for my team to take that Phoenix, right? That's what I'm hoping for. At this point, I finally start buying my defense potion, which I honestly should have bought before. I probably would not have died there, because cumulatively I would have been taking less damage. They do successfully take the Phoenix, which means my death was not in vain. And the world's most aggressive Sun Wukong is going to come after this nearly dead Baron Samedi. Honestly, the Rom could have probably taken the Sun Wukong there. In all honesty, he probably could have won that fight. But he didn't take the risk, and I can't really blame him considering the proximity to the enemy fountain. If he took too long doing that, then he... yeah, probably would have been killed by the Bakasur. You can see he just came up. Houyi just came up. Sobek is about to come up. And we need to gather up for the Fire Giant. So it's kind of an understandable decision. Could he have taken the Sun Wukong? Yes. Could he have taken the Sun Wukong in time? That's the question. That's the burning question. So I'm going to be teleporting in, right? Use my defense potion, boost my protections, and start working on this. Now they're going after the Houyi. The Houyi was going to try the exact same stun he tried last time. Rom is chasing him too far, though. Rom really should have turned around and helped us with the Fire Giant. He ulted there, obviously, in his attempts to kill Houyi. But we really didn't need Houyi dead. We just needed Houyi to not be in the jungle when we're taking this. That's all we really needed. And we are able to take it as a result of that. The enemy Sun Wukong will be too late. And they're looking for the fight, which is interesting, because they should have pressed the fight there. The fact that they backed off was a mistake for them, because we were not in the best shape. Yeah, we had the Fire Giant buff, sure, but it would have taken us a little bit of time to heal back up from that. I was going to be fine, but the Loki was in bad condition. So little do they know, and they only didn't know that because they didn't have eyes on the Loki. The Loki had already started leaving the vicinity as soon as the Fire Giant was dead, so they couldn't have known, but if they had known, they probably would have pressed the attack, because they actually had the advantage there and just did not know it. Okay. So the enemy Sun Wukong ults very early. He goes in on that, and the Loki catches him kind of by accident. I Bird of Nope, which is not what I wanted, by the way. I wanted actually the Tiger, but I just misaimed it. There's Merlin almost dead, and I'm looking to ult just so I can catch up to the Sun Wukong at this point. I whiff most everything, so it was a waste. They do catch out the Hou Yi, though, which is fantastic. And we're just going to press on to the Titan at this particular point in time, right? That's what we're looking to do. Because they have 2 of their 5 people down. I tried to get the Bakasur, but I hit a minion because I miscalculated the minions. And we take that mid-Phoenix, and we're looking to just fight our way in and see what we can do. We're in really good condition. We have Baron Samedi, right? I pick up the Sun Wukong thanks to Animosity. Really slapping this guy down with Rom, and he goes down, and we win. That's just the win right there. All right. So, I'm going to talk before the scoreboard comes up. I'm going to talk about because I've already talked about the other aspects of Conquest. What I really specifically want to talk about is using the Titans. The Titans can be really significant. You can see where we got that left tower purely due to the Titan, and at no point in that match did we ever go back to the left lane. So if the Titan hadn't been used to take that tower, quite honestly, we probably would not have. I think Nandonk, by the way, accidentally invited me. I don't think that was intentional. But the Titans can be really effective. In this particular match, we used the Titan as a potential distraction so we could grab the Fire Giant, and while we still failed to take the Fire Giant because Hou Yi had an excellently timed ult, we still were able to take that tower despite that. So even though we were trying to sacrifice, or we intended to sacrifice the Titan to distract the enemy team from our Fire Giant attempt, we still took that tower as a result of that. I mean, once Bacchus went... Well, I say we didn't return to left lane after that Titan, but, I mean, Bacchus went back over there to slap down that tower really quick. So, technically, we did go back to left lane really quick there. But, yeah, the Titans can be quite useful. I had a match earlier where I was playing... I believe I was Fafnir, a support Fafnir, and my team won with that Titan rush. We killed the enemy Titan, and we were able to push our Titan under their Titan and win the game right there. It's entirely possible. That's happened to me twice. Alright, the Fafnir match was right before this one, but I wanted a solo lane gameplay. I might talk about the Fafnir match, I might not. But it depends on how good of an example it is. But that Titan fight can be really impactful. Even here, again, it doesn't seem like a lot just taking that one tower, but we were able to roll that into gold experience and being able to functionally ignore left lane after that tower fell and almost got the Fire Giant. And we were able to more easily take that Titan at the end game. If we hadn't taken that tower, maybe the Titan would have had too much health or more health than we would have been able to deal with at that time. Probably not, but you never know. But it was useful as distraction. We did take that tower even with that. And of course, again, you can push that theoretically under enemy Titan and win with it. Now, you can see where the Sun Wukong kind of copied my build because they sold their Crusher. Now, this was actually kind of silly because they could have achieved a very similar effect with the Corrupted Bluestone, because that gives you bonus damage on your abilities, but it doesn't scale off of your power. It gives you increased attack speed when you land abilities, and it increases your protections. So, on some level, actually in a lot of ways, the Corrupted Bluestone is actually more effective than the Crusher. I just wanted the Axe of Animosity because I wanted bonus damage on my auto attacks and my abilities. And since the Crusher is so useful on Sun Wukong anyways, because again, you're getting bonus damage on your abilities and increasing your attack speed, which helps your decoy, by the way. Your decoy gets your attack speed. And of course, Shogun's Kusari is both an attack speed increase for your decoy and also cooldown for you and increased attack speed for you. I find Axe of Animosity a really fun surprise item. It's not something I would necessarily always pick up, but it can be quite a nice little nifty item, especially if you still have a lot of enemy towers and phoenixes left to take, or you're in a situation where you're ahead and you really want to capitalize on your damage. That's another great way to use that. I encourage you to experiment with Acts of Animosity on Sun Wukong a little bit. It's quite interesting. Otherwise, I just want to talk about the Bacchus's build here. Bacchus did an absolutely great job. Grabbed the Chronos Pendant, which was quite an interesting gamble, because normally when you're running Bacchus mid, if you're going to run Bacchus mid, you normally want to use the Hourglass, but Bacchus realized, or Nandont, I believe is probably what it's supposed to be. Nandont probably realized, hey, I'm not going to be hitting as hard as a mage would, because I'm, of course, going to be melee rather than ranged, and so picked up the Mage's Gemstone, or whatever that's called. I can't quite remember the name of it off the top of my head, but picked that up instead for bonus damage, right? And then began working on Chronos Pendant for the MP5 to be able to keep Bacchus in that drunk state for bonus protections, bonus power. And then immediately went on to the Spear of Desolation for the 30% cooldowns that he's going to want, and for some nice flat penetration, and finally for the ability to get decreased cooldowns upon getting a kill or assist. And then, of course, Charon's Coin for MP5 and percentage penetration. Then we've got the Archmage's Staff for more penetration. I think it has 10% cooldown. They keep wibbly-wobbling on that. It either has 10% cooldown and 10% penetration, or it has only one of the two. I think it's still got the penetration. And then finally, for 40% pen and for some bonus damage, Rod of Tahuti. And then the Archmage's Gemstone, I believe this one is, which is the one that increases your damage and movement speed. Something Bacchus is going to need because, again, he is melee. It's a really well thought out build here. But I will mention that Nandont succeeded here because Nandont is just actually really good as a player. These first two items are very risky to start with as a Bacchus not in the support role, because Chronos Pendant as a second item is fairly expensive at 2,700 gold. It doesn't sound like that much of a difference, but that is a fair chunk of gold to be waiting for. So if you goof your early game hard enough, you're not going to recover. All right? This is something you pick up when you are confident you are going to have a great mid-game. All right? Absolutely, period. It helps that Merlin was building stacks, which meant Merlin's early game was going to be a little bit slower than it normally would. Instead of him jumping into, say, Bancroft's Talon, he went for the stacks. So this quite accidentally gave Nandont, the Bacchus, quite a great window of opportunity to build up to that Chronos Pendant. Alright? Because when you're building stacks, you are functionally sacrificing a certain amount of your early game for a bit of a better late game. Okay? That is functionally what you're doing there. But outside of that, some pretty standard builds. This is not too unusual of a Baron Samedi support build. You might be wondering about the Spear of Desolation, but this is built primarily for that passive effect, right? Every time you get a kill or assist, your non-ultimate abilities get, I think it's 2 seconds whacked off of your cooldowns. It might be 3. And that can happen every 10 or 15 seconds. They keep changing it. They've changed it like a half dozen times this year, so I can never quite remember right this year what the specific passive is. But otherwise, really excellent build. I am a little surprised, though, to see now I'm having a brain fart. I almost called it Genji's Guard, but I knew it wasn't. No, I think it is Genji's Guard. I'm a little surprised to see this instead of the Flower Earring, which, why am I having a name brain cramp? The one that drops the flowers for the shield, because that gives you cooldowns. It gives you 10% cooldowns like Genji's Guard. It gives you MP5 like Genji's Guard, and it gives you magic protections like Genji's Guard. But instead of reducing your cooldowns every time you're hit by a source of magic damage, which in this case would primarily be Sobek, would obviously just be Sobek or Merlin, you instead drop healing flowers for your allies whenever you heal them or you get healed. So I am a little surprised to see Genji's Guard instead of the Flower Earrings. This right here is built to just provide Baron Samedi with even better cooldowns, because we're right now running 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. This brings you up to 50%, which of course is one of the reasons why Baron Samedi was throwing out abilities all over the place willy-nilly. That's why. It's a really great pickup here. A bit risky to build normally, but because Baron Samedi is operating on lower baseline protections and built Spear of Desolation, built Spear of Desolation, Baron Samedi was going to lose less out of that 15% reduction of protections than your average support would, than your usual Guardian would. So it was actually a really well thought out move there. Excellent build by Baron Samedi. Pretty standard stuff out of Rom. Sold his starter item for Odysseus' bow, which I think is very interesting. Either that or he started working towards this right off the top, but I'm pretty sure he sold his starter for that, which is fairly eyebrow-raising. It worked out pretty well for him, but just an interesting choice, especially given... my only real issue with Rom is just the egregious amount of penetration items. He probably didn't need Executioner. I can understand why he built it. Bakasur was building the Egg of Protections, so he would want a little bit more kick, but he already had Titan's Bane and he already had Dominance. He didn't really need Executioner, in my opinion. I think the Executioner was a bit of an overkill, but that's just my opinion. Standard, classic, beautiful Loki build. Hou Yi built... Griffin Wing Earrings aren't something I normally see on Hou Yi. Griffin Wing Earrings are really effective on certain hunters. Neither Rom nor Hou Yi are either of these, in my opinion. But again, that's just my opinion. Otherwise, this build is fine. I mean, Griffin Wing Earrings aren't bad. It's just the passive doesn't mean much to most hunters. Yes, your shots are traveling through the air faster, and that can help you be a little bit more accurate if you have a problem leading your targets. But the ones that it really makes a difference for are the people with unusual auto attacks. Izanami is a really big fan of Griffin Wing Earrings because it makes the consistency of her hitting enemies on the rebound that much higher. It makes Izanami more consistent, as an example. Otherwise, pretty good. Bakasur sold his Golden Blade for Rage. This was Bakasur's only build mistake. My problem here is that at this point in the game, it was going to be too late in the match for Rage to likely be fully built, especially when they were behind for a majority of the back half of the game. Actually, I think from like halfway onwards, they were behind the whole time. Rage was not the move, all right? Otherwise, totally fine, right? It's a great build. But Rage, it was too late to build Rage from behind. If they were ahead, maybe he could have gotten away with this, but they were behind. It was late in the game. It just wasn't going to work. He was not likely to finish those stacks in time. And even if he did, it wasn't going to be significantly fast enough to make a big enough difference at that stage in the game. Otherwise, yeah. It was a great game. But that is my thoughts on the Titans fighting. And, of course, I've already given my thoughts on the Spirit Surge so far. But with that being said, thank you very much for joining me. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And thank you all very much for joining me, and have a great 24 hours.